Hello everyone. In this video tutorial we are going to talk about position in CSS. Position in CSS. Okay, where we look at the fixed position, float position, absolute position, relative position, and sticky position. Okay, in CSS we position some divisions or some elements. We use position to determine where we want a division or an element or a button or a form to be, regardless of other content in that web page or in that page. Okay, look at what I mean. Let's just start. I'm going to create a HTML file. I will call it position.html. Okay, I will do my HTML version 5 stuff. Okay, let me give it a title of position. Okay, this time around I will be using internal CSS. You can use external as well, but I prefer using internal CSS this one now. Okay, I just created my tag for internal CSS inside the head tag. Now inside the body I am going to be creating some content. Okay, so let me start with creating a content of header 2. Okay, I will generate about let me say 200 words. Okay, I now have 200 words. Let me come down here. Let me do header 4. Okay, in this header 4 let me generate about 3000 words because I want the content to be too many. Okay, I now have 200 words here, 3000 words here, so that I will be placing my element here and I will be positioning it regardless of all the text. Okay, let's test this in and see before we start doing our positioning. Okay, open the file. Okay, look at what we have. I just want to have a text that will enable me to scroll. That's all. So that I will be creating some elements here and I'll start positioning it. Okay, let me just minimize this browser so that everything will show here. Okay, let's proceed. Fix positioning, we use it to fix an element in a particular place of the web page, so that even if you are scrolling, that element remain fixed. Okay, let me just create a div. You can use any button, you can use a button, you can use any tag at all. Okay, this div, let me call it fixed position. Okay, this is fixed position. Okay, I want to style this. I am going to create a class here. I will call this class let me call it board. Okay, this class I'm going to give it a width. The width is going to be fixed content, so that it will just wrap around the content. I'm going to give it a height. Okay, no need of giving it a height. Let me just give it a padding of 15 ps, a border of 4 ps, solid green. Okay, let it has a color white. Okay, then let me give it a background color of red. Okay, let me just include this class I just created here. Okay, let me say class is equals to board. Okay, let me just test this code and see what we have. Okay, we just have this now. Okay, Now what I really want to do now is to fix this somewhere using the fix position in CSS. Okay, so that whenever I fix it, you will now notice that I have fixed it. I just write a CSS that converts this to a kind of button. Okay, and I'm going to fix it somewhere. Okay, to fix this, I'll start writing a CSS code to fix it. I'll call it fixed. Okay, this is a class fixed. How do we fix? First of all, we say position is fixed. Okay, now we now determine where we want this element to fix. We want it to fix at the top. At the top, let it be 50%, 50 ps at the top. A kind of we are saying from the top here, count down to 50%, fix it here. Then when we say the top, we will either set the right or we set the left. If we say the right 20 ps, it will mean count the top 50, count the right 20 and place this here. If we set the top and the right, it goes here. If you say the top and the left, it goes here. So what I want to do now, since this is here, let me just set it to the top and the right so that it goes here. Okay, back to my code. I says let the top be 50 ps and let the right be 25 ps. Okay, coming back to my code, I refresh. Oh, it didn't set. Okay, let me check where the error is coming from. Okay, we have the top, we have the right. Okay, okay, actually I have not included this class in that div. This div I just has the board class, which is for this. So let me include this, okay, so that this CSS will be functioning here. Okay, now this division have the class for board and the class for face. Okay, let's test this code now. Okay, you see it's been fixed here. The top 50 and the right what do we use at the right? The right 25. Okay, now look at this fix position. If I'm scrolling, you see this element will be fixed here. If I'm scrolling, whether I scroll up or I scroll down, it will fix here. Okay, this is for the fix position. Okay, regardless of where you create this tag, even if I create this tag at the top, it will still be fixed at this position. Okay, even if I put it at the bottom, it will still be fixed at that position. Okay, let me create another div. Okay, this div I will still give it a class board. Okay, because we are going to use it to test another positioning. Coming back to what we have here, we are looking at float. Okay, we are looking at float. Okay, let me just write something here. Let me say float. Okay, then I break a line because I need some content and I don't want it to mix with this. Okay, I say lorem 50. Okay, I have developed about 50 words through lorem ipsum. Okay, let me just make it look nice. Okay, coming back to our code, what do we have? Okay, we have something like this. Okay, I want to reduce the width of this so that it will just be one side so that I can float it. Or do I use image? Okay, I will float this and I will float image as well. Remember, this position can work with anything. You can fix image here, you can float image, you can float elements, you can equally fix an element. Okay, let me just call this board 1. Okay, we will create CSS for board 1. Let me just copy this. Okay, now I will use this one for board 1 while this one remains for the old class we have. Okay, let me now reduce the width. I don't want the width to be fit content. Let me say let this width be 200 ps. Okay, remember now this is board 1, width is 200 ps, but the other board it is fit content, and this new one we are creating, we are using board 1. Okay, coming back to my web page, I refresh. Okay, we have something like this. Now the function of float, unlike feast is that it will feast as you are scrolling, everything will be, it will just be feast in this particular position. Float now, I want it to float somehow so that this text can come up and be beside it. Okay, in float, you can float either you float left or you float right. Okay, if I float right, what will happen is that this card now that I have here will move to this place, and this content will come up and be beside it. If I say float left, it simply means that this card will remain where it is because it is at the left already, and this text now will come up here and line beside it. Okay, this is the function of float. Remember I said you can float left or you float right. Okay, look at the way we do this float. It's a little bit different from the feast or where we say position feast top and right. No, from here now I can just come to this board. Since it is the only one using this class, I can say float right. Okay, if I say float right, the board will automatically float right. Let me refresh and see. You see that it has float right, and we have our content wrapped around it. Remember the feast position is still where it is. When I scroll, the feast is still there. Okay, this is for float right. Okay, sometimes if you want to give it a space, wrap a space around it, you can now use margin. We have talked about margin before now. Okay, so this is for the float in positioning. Remember I have positioned this in a way that text can be beside it because this thing is floating. Okay, this one is feast. Okay, what do we have in the list this time around? Absolute. Okay, in absolute we use it to position a file in a particular place that we want it to be regardless of where it is. Okay, this is a class board that we have. I'm going to use it to create stuff. Okay, I'll come to this place before the closing body tag. I'll create my div. Okay, I'll call it absolute position. Okay, let me just put that class that I copied here. Okay, class is board. Go back to our page. What do we have? Okay, scrolling to the bottom, we now have the card that I just created. Now the function of absolute position is that regardless of where this is, I can place it in anywhere. Okay, once I place it, it will just be like float, but it is not actually, it will be like feast but not actually feast, because if I scroll, it will scroll up. Okay, but feast will hang somewhere. But for absolute, I will just position it wherever I want it to be. It will be on top of this. Assuming I said absolute is 0 top, 0 left. Okay, this thing will be here, around here, because the top is 0, the left is 0. It just hang here, just be around here, and whenever I scroll, it will scroll. Okay, this is for the absolute. The difference between absolute position and feast is that you position a feast, and when you scroll, feast doesn't scroll. But in our absolute, you position it, when you scroll, it will scroll. Okay, so let's go to our code. This is absolute. So I'm going to create a class. I'll call it absolute. Okay, in this absolute, don't mind the spelling. The point is just make sure that what you created here is what you are using. Okay, I can say now position absolute. Okay, position absolute. Let me say top 30 ps. Okay, since my face is at the top right, let me do this one top left so that it will be just another different place. Let me say left this time around is 40 ps. Okay, so our positioning is top, a kind of top left here. Okay, then I'm going to implement this class to where this stuff is. Okay, now say the class absolute. Okay, in our page now, what do we have? You see that this has moved over to this place. By default, it's supposed to be at the bottom, but because I have positioned it absolutely, it is here now, just like fist. But whenever I scroll, it will scroll. You understand now? Whenever I scroll, absolute scroll, but fist doesn't scroll. Sometimes we use this as a kind of to notify someone or something of that nature. Just know how it works so that when there is need for it, you now know how to do it. Okay, let's proceed. We have the one of fist, we have done float, we have done absolute. This time around, let's tackle relative. Okay, for relative position is that you start shifting the element from its former position. Here you are not actually creating a kind of exact position. You are looking at where it is initially and you start shifting it from that position. Look at what I mean. Let me just create a div for relative position. Let me just copy this, life is too short. Come just here before the h4 that has 2000 lorem ipsum. Okay, I'll call this relative position. Okay, let me remove this class. Okay, what I have now is board relative position, so that the board, this board now will now change the weight, the padding, whatever I want. Okay, come back to here. Okay, this is relative position. I have not actually set the position, so it's just like the normal div. Okay, now in relative position now, I am positioning starting from this point. If I say position relative and I say a kind of top is equals to 20, it simply means, look, from this top I'm moving down to 20, right? If I say left is equals to 30, it simply means from this left, from this initial position left, I'm moving like this to 30. Okay, if I say right 15, it simply means from this right I am moving like this to 15. Okay, if I say bottom 30, it simply means from this bottom I'm moving down, I'm moving like this. Bottom I goes like this. Okay, and top now it goes like this. Top we count down, bottom we go up like this. Okay, let's just test this. Okay, I am going to create a class. I'll call this class relative. Okay, relative. Okay, I will now say position is relative. Okay, position relative. Make sure you are not making mistake. Okay, remember, for absolute we equally do position absolute, now top and we position it. For fist we do the same thing. Absolute and fist are just the same, but for float we just write float either left or right. Okay, for this positioning now, we now set it to be relative. Okay, this time around we don't do top left or right whatever. Here we are just shifting, either we shift from top or we shift from bottom or we shift from right or left. Okay, let me start with top. Let me say top 45 PS. Okay, let me refresh now. Okay, you might not notice it from top. I have actually moved to 45 PS. Okay, look at how I will do it so that you will notice it. Okay, back to our code. This fixed position, let me use a span. Okay, let me use a span. Let me just remove this class for now. Okay, let me just remove this class for now. Okay, now let me place this, let me just put it inside this lorem ipsum here so that you understand what I'm talking about. I want it to be in between some content, right? Okay, let me just break these guys down so that it will be just in between them. Okay, let me just put it here. Okay, let me now create the class now. Let me call this class fees. Okay, so before I do this position relative, let me just style this so that we can easily see it from that content. Fees. Let me give it a border. Let me say I have a border of 2 PS solid red. Okay, that's all I need so that I can easily find it from that content. Okay, this is that fees position, right? Okay, maybe I will change the background color as well. Let me change the background color to yellow. Okay, background color is yellow. Back to my code. Okay, background color. Now let me start doing my positioning of it. I have already created a relative class which I says position is relative, top is 45 PS. So let me just put this class here. Okay, so that this code will work for this guy. Okay, you see it now. When I say the top is 45, I'm just shifting it from this down to 45 PS. Okay, just a kind of moving it out from its former position. Remember this one, I'll just create where I want it to be exactly, but here in relative I will be using that former position becomes its initial position, whereby any other movement I make will move it. Now I say stop 45, I can say a kind of, this is left 20, it will now move 45, move like this 20. Okay, from its former position. Let me say here left is 23 PS. Okay, I save. Coming back here, you see what I have. This is supposed to be here, but I have moved it from top down and from left like this. Okay, so in relative we will move it from its initial position. We are not a kind of positioning it anywhere. No, any dimension that we place here is a kind of moving it from its original position to the top of 45 and bottom of this. Okay, what about if I do this bottom? Okay, what happened from its initial position? The bottom is going like this, so I am pushing it from the bottom and pushing it from the right. You see what we have here now, pushing it from the bottom and pushing it from this. Okay, I think that's all for relative. So relative, you can do bottom left, bottom right, top left, top right. You can't do right left, okay, but you can do bottom left, you can do bottom right, you can do top left and top right. Okay, that is it for relative position. Okay, now we are now moving sticky. This sticky is a kind of combination of relative position and then face position. In sticky, we are setting it like, look at where in a point like this, face. Let me just write a code that will explain this, okay, so that you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, let me come to in this 2000 words that we have here. Let me just break some down. Okay, here I'm going to create my div. Okay, let me call this div sticky note. Okay, always do your assignment. Sticky note, always do your assignment. Okay, I'm going to give it a class related to the one of that relative. Okay, I'm going to give it this class face. Okay, coming to our div, this div here, I will create this class now. I will say class is face. Okay, just to give it a border and a background color. Coming back to our code. Okay, look at what I have here. Class is face. Okay, I don't know why it's okay, let me use span. Let me use span because I want this text to just wrap around it. Let me use span instead of, you know, division always break line. Okay, so I will use span. Okay, this is sticky. So what I want to do now is something that once I scroll, if this reach at the top, it will hang there and other elements will start scrolling. If I'm coming back again, on catching this again, it will go down. Okay, we use sticky. Okay, look at what I want to do now. Let me just create a class. I'll call this class stick here. Okay, coming back to my CSS, I'll create a class known as stick. Okay, dot stick. Okay, now say position. Position sticky, as you can see here, sticky. Okay, I will now say at the top 0 ps stick at the top of 0 ps. Okay, now what do we have now? Whenever this thing reach at the top of 0 ps, it will stick, it will fit there. Okay, let me refresh the page, watch and see. Okay, just watch this guy. Whenever this guy reach at the top, it will stick. Do you notice that this guy has stick? Okay, this is what we call sticky position. Okay, I will be scrolling, the guy will stick until it will come back to where it's supposed to be before. It will follow it and go down. Okay, some people normally use it for their a kind of how do I say it, adverts or so. Okay, I can still stick this one despite I am floating it. I can still stick it. Okay, let me find this one and stick it. Remember our class is stick. Okay, that float stuff, which is this guy. Let me just add this stick here. Okay, look at what we have. Okay, I refresh. Now let me scroll. See that this guy has stick, this guy has stick, and this guy has stick. Okay, you see I will be scrolling, all of them will be there. Whenever I come back to where they are supposed to be, they all follows and go down. Okay, I can equally stick at the bottom, assuming I have some content at the top that will enable me scroll. Okay, for me to achieve that, let me just pump more content here. Okay, okay, look at what I have here now. Okay, so that this bottom, this will try to go down, but I will pump more content here. Okay, back to this code. Sorry guys, back to this code. Okay, look at what I want, something that will hide both of them. Okay, I will come and say in that sticky, instead of the top, I will now say bottom, stick at the bottom, so that whenever I scroll up, stick at the bottom. Let me just add more stuff here. Okay, good. Okay, coming back to the code, I refresh. You see, this guy has sticks at the bottom whenever I'm scrolling. But if I scroll and come back to this place, it will be here. You see, being stick at the bottom. You see. So let me just try this. I'm not really sure of it, but let me see whether it will work. You can see that this guy will call it stick. I don't know why this one is not sticking at the bottom, but you can notice that this guy is sticking. Okay, let me just do stick bottom and top. I say bottom 0 ps, stick there. Let me still do top 0 ps. I'm not really sure about this. I just want to test it out and see whether it will work. I refresh. Okay, the bottom is stick. Okay, the top is stick. Okay, it's working. I can stick at the top and at the bottom. I don't want this thing to escape this screen. Okay, so be at the top. Whenever you reach here, still be at the bottom. The reason why this one is not sticking at the bottom is what I don't really know. Okay, is it because I'm using a span or what? Can't really remember. But whatever it is, we have achieved what I really want to achieve using this float board one that I created. Okay, I think that's all we have for the position, guys. Thank you so much. Bye bye.